All right. More retirement stuff. I've erased that word from my vocabulary, except that our dear friend Jeff McCloskey is going to.
Jeff is back.
He's going to bring that word back into my life.
Yeah, in a good way.
I don't know what I'd do if I'd retire, but Jeff, it's all about shaping our retirement. Right? It's not that I have to stop doing stuff. It's having options, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, think of it. It's such a big word, and it means so many different things to so many people, and there's so many moving parts to it. So, the way I look at it and my company looks at it is we really break down retirement into two phases. There's the accumulation phase, which a lot of us have already done. And
we did actually
pre-COVID. Well, a lot of people, right?
Right.
So we're hearing from a lot of people. They did that. That's right. We did that pre-COVID. Now we're going to make adjustments again. But keep going because I know we're going to come around to that again.
Right.
There's a perception that retirement is just like saving for it, but there's really and that's where 95% of advisors or people spend their time thinking about is that let me grow my nest egg, let me grow my assets as big as again, and then when retirement comes, I'll sail off in the sunset with all that wealth. But there's really another phase that people overlook, and that's the distribution phase. And what that basically is, how do we take all that money that we've accrued over our working lifetime and distribute it in our retirement? Number one, in the most tax efficient manner, but more importantly, how do we distribute it so we never run out of money? That's the biggest fear of people.
Right. You would outlive your money is not a good thing. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So that could be overwhelming. How am I going to have enough money through retirement? And what I suggest people do is let's define what our retirement looks like. Right. There's three phases in retirement. There's what I call the go-go years. There's the slow-mo years, and then there's the no-go years. And,
I like that. That's cool.
So it's the go-go years.
The go-go years is when you retire to probably up age 75. And that's where every day is a Saturday. We're out doing new hobbies. We're traveling. We're going to visit the kids. Maybe we're starting gardening, or we always wanted to volunteer, and we're doing that. So,
I was just going to say that because part of our social awareness program here is we support an organization called Friends of Long Creek that helps incarcerated youth and kids at risk, right? And so many of the people that are involved in that's where they're at, Jeff, exactly what you said. They're retired or semi-retired, but they want to stay active. And so they're very into the volunteer phase of it, right?
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And, whether it is travel, whether it's volunteering, or maybe, you're going to take up skydiving and scuba diving, or maybe you're just going to wind down and relax after all those years of hard work. It all comes down to one basic question. How much money do I need on a monthly basis in income to live, to support those three stages, the go-go, the slow-mo, and the no-go years?
Yeah.
I'm not doing the no-go.
No, me neither. I refuse to go there.
Yeah, that's where.
But each of those stages has a lifestyle and expenses, and they come with it. And whether you have a support system or the financial means to make it, you really need to define what that retirement is, and you need to really define how much money you need in a monthly income. So if we could just go back to that distribution phase, if we know what that number is, we can look whether what we put in place so far is going to get us there, or whether we have a gap.
Yeah.
And if there's a gap at age 60, you can still address some things to close up those gaps. But how do we figure out what that is? The third part of it is breaking down our expenses. All right. And I break down the expenses in retirement into three areas. Number one is core. That's food, clothing, housing, taxes, utilities, healthcare, what I call must-pay items. So that's important. The second one is what I call luxury. That's dining out, some travel, better care, nicer clothes, basically what I call better core.
Yeah.
And then the third is legacy, inheritance, gifting, charity.
Well, yeah, maybe.
But for some people
If I have some, I'm going to leave some for you.
Wine. Just saying, wine has to go into the core expense.
But
category.
you know what? I want to circle back to that core expense, because we've been reading a lot of articles about this. This is where a lot of people I think are closing that gap, right? Because there's so much information now, and people are more. I think people our age, probably more than young people, are willing to move, right, to areas where living expenses are a lot less. Especially if you're in an area that's very high living expenses. We're seeing a lot of people move to Maine for that reason, right?
Especially now.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are just
there's
fleeing the cities. Yeah.
There's been an exodus out of the urban centers too.
Right.
Because they don't need the office space. And companies are redefining whether they really need office space, and we'll learn how to work remote on the fly. So yeah, that's why, you hear the real estate markets in the suburbs, they're like, stuff staying on the market for like, we're in a low interest rate environment, so that's one thing. But there's, the demand is out there in the burbs. So I would take, with the core expenses, that's the most important, because that's the must pay items. Yeah. And what I like to do is I like to shore up paying for core expenses with guaranteed income. Mm-hmm. So that's Social Security, as long as it's still here. But that's that's a subject for another day. That's a subject for another day. I mean, that's something that keeps getting kicked down the road. But let's just say it's still there. Pensions, as long as they're funded properly, they should be there too. And the other way to do it is with what I call guaranteed income annuities. So you basically give a money. A set amount of money, and it spits out a income stream for life. So if we can lock up the core expenses with guaranteed income, people are sleeping easy at night. They can relax. They can sleep at night. They know that their basic needs are going to be taken care of. The second area would be, what we talked about was luxury, better clothes, travel, if there's excess money after those, Social Security, pension, and, if you've shared up with some annuities, if you have 401s and IRAs, you can afford to stay in the market now because your core expenses are being met.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So, everyone says you got to get out of the market when you're 60. That's not necessarily true. So if we're taking care of the core needs with guaranteed income, and there's excess after that, you can build a better retirement by staying in the market or in other investment vehicles, And then there's legacy. That's some people want to, they want to leave money to their church. They want to leave money to the kids. They want to, they have wealthy estates. There's the solution there for a lot of that is the insurance market can take care of some of those items. One big thing that happened at the end of 2019 that people might not know about. COVID came along, but there was the Secure Act that was passed in December of 2019. And people who have significant 401s and 401ks, leaving those to non-spouses has become a big detriment. What happened is basically we had to start taking retirement funds at age 70. They've moved out to age 72 now. But on the flip side is if you're going to leave your 401 or your IRA to your kids, they no longer can do what's called the stretch IRA, which means they take your distributions that you were supposed to take and stretch it out over their lifetime. They now have to take it in 10 years. So think about the tax headache that could be presenting for your children. So that's a big thing to do. Leaving retirement accounts to the kids is not a situation that's going to work anymore. Spouses okay, kids and non-spouses get to be a problem. There are exceptions to the rule, but that's the general.
Kids and non-spouses are always a problem, especially if your spouse doesn't know about the non-spouse, which is happening more and more at 60 plus.
Is there something I should know here?
I'm just saying. You read the articles about
how do we go down this road?
The Village is the most sexually active retirement community in the country. You got to.
And then the final thing I would just say there are pitfalls. Some of the pitfalls that there's strategies on when to take Social Security. 62 is the earliest. 67 is the retirement age, normal retirement age for people like us now, and then 70 is when you can maximize it. taking unnecessary investment risk. Maybe you shouldn't be in the market. If you've got a lot of money in the market, you might not be able to afford it. So, that's important. Increased spending, increasing expenses is a risk. But the number one thing, which we'll get into the next segment, is a healthcare event.
Right.
There's nothing that eats into your retirement savings quicker than having a healthcare event.
Right.
So you can address that. The solution there would be, a long-term care plan. There's, some people might have taken out certain riders on their insurance policies that help out with long-term care. There's, there's 65 is when we file for Medicare. There's programs and there's resources out there to help you get supplemental plans that can help, cut down some of the cost of the healthcare. But healthcare planning is part of retirement planning, and you just can't do the financial side of it, the money side of it. You need to bring in the healthcare into it as well.
Now, this is the big thing.
Yeah, I was just gonna.
It's
I
hard.
want to talk about that a little bit. Yeah.
Well, it's hard for all of us to navigate this. You know what I mean? So, this is why we want professionals like you involved, right? I mean, seriously. I mean, that's
right.
That's it.
So if you're,
this is complicated.
if you just turned 60 and you've had a financial advisor and he or she hasn't reached out to you yet, you should probably get in touch with them, because you want to start mapping some of this stuff out before you get to the retirement age, the distribution end of it. How am I going to plan out my retirement? It's important. If not, find one, find the trusted source in your area, check with your friends, and there's,
that's
it's
why
important to plan this stuff. Yeah, that's right. That's fine too. That's fine. Not a problem. But you need to kind of plan this stuff. It's it's really not really what you've made along the way. It's what you keep, and what you keep is going to help define what your retirement's going to look like.
Right. Of course, one of the upcoming episodes we're going to do is Jeff's going to walk us through this.
Yeah.
He's going to beat you and I into submission.
Oh,
here.
I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, yeah.
No, that'll be a blast. We will not disclose our personal finances, but
we can work around the but yeah.
Jeff will know, but you won't know. All right, so let's tie the whole thing together, and then we'll prepare for Jeff's next adventure here at the Big 60 Life. I think you're going to look for. All right, so you had phases of retirement, right, that we need to pay attention to.
Accumulation in the distribution phase. And then the next thing you need to do is kind of define what your retirement is. There's the go-go years, where every day is a Saturday. The slow-mo years, where we're slowing down, maybe people coming to us a little bit more instead of us going out to them. And then the no-go years, where we're really kind of just
take it easy.
Take it easy. Yeah. And then the third is the breakdown of expenses.
Right. So that's the core expenses. Luxury is the second, which is basically better core. And third is legacy. What do we want to leave behind?
And then the pitfalls.
Yeah.
Things that can derail a retirement. Obviously there's
COVID.
Right. Yeah. There's that.
Recession.
Right. Yeah. Undue risk, but mostly the big one there is the healthcare, and healthcare planning is part of retirement planning.
Okay, so we're going to be looking forward to the next time we see Jeff, where he's going to walk us through this process.
Right. Yeah.
That's very important, because we want people to see that this can be a very positive and dare we say enjoyable experience,
not something
Jeff?
You have to.
You're going to make
it
an enjoyable experience, right?
Yeah.
It can be enjoyable. It can be an eye-awakening experience for people. But it's an important thing to do, because just sit out there and hope that it all is going to figure out on its own. It doesn't, right?
And it's never too late to plan.
It's never too late to plan.
Yeah.
Never too late.
Honestly. And there's no better way to spend your time than to hang out with Jeff. Anyway, so Jeff, why don't we tell people how to get in touch with you so they can hang out with you too?
It's J McCloskey at ft.newyorklife.com, or my phone number is 617-686-9466.
All right, there we go.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Jeff.